guys? Aaron and Pierre here for another episode of Hanging with the Herd. This is going to be episode 10, talking about follow-up from Minicamps this week, a little bit of Jairus Bird. You know, that's about all the news there is in Buffalo right now. So, how's your week, Pierre?
What's going on? Yeah, week's been pretty busy. Definitely been pretty busy. I've been wanting to do a show for the past couple of days. Itching off of this mini camp, but just right now, just out here, just enjoying this weather. I apologize for the noise in the background, but yeah, man, let's talk about the Bills.
Heck yeah, man. So again, too, I was a little bit busier than I'd like to be, but I tried to follow everything I could with minicamp. Haven't been on Twitter as much to get the news, but watched some of the highlights from BuffaloBills.com. It kind of is a typical thing. It is a step up from OTAs, how I was saying, like you can't really tell guys in shorts playing football. But they had a little bit more of an installation of both the offense and the defense. Um, Doug Marone was talking about the effort, and these guys are now getting the speed of how the coaches want to practice. So I think that's good. Outside of that, though, I can't. I don't think we could read too much into like, hey, the defense is playing so great and the offense is, kind of stagnant.
Yeah,
Hard to read into that stuff this time of year. What are your thoughts?
yeah. I mean, just like you said, man, it's kind of hard to kind of gauge it without the pads. But as far as the scheme, it's definitely confusing the offense. Mike Pettin is definitely bringing the pressure right now. He's making the our rookie offensive coordinator look like he doesn't really know what he's doing. But like you said earlier, it's easier installing a new defense than it is a new offense. So, but as far as the pressure right now, everyone is I believe on the second day of minicamp, we had about 4 sacks in a row on Cobb. Nothing against Cobb, but that kind of means something. He's not able to really, read, wherever the blitz is coming from, which is understandable. I mean, it's still pretty early, but I do want to talk about the actual, starting quarterback position. With Tavares Jackson leaving, Cobb is he's rubbing off on me a little bit. I know I'm really big on EJ Manuel. I know that I made a video talking about that. EJ should start no matter what. But Cobb is he's not looking too bad right now in minicamp. And what are your thoughts about him?
Well, my thing in theory this whole time is, and it was the same one when Fitzpatrick was there. If the defense is good enough and the special teams is good enough and the running game is good enough, we don't need a great quarterback. We just need a guy that won't lose the game, which unfortunately Fitzpatrick did lose games, and maybe Cobb will too. I think Cobb is a serviceable enough quarterback to allow EJ to grow into the role. EJ is going to be the guy. It's just a matter, is it going to be week one or, what week or next year? We don't know yet. But I like Cobb enough to feel comfortable that they can win games with him going into the season, as long as the defense is what we think it's going to be. Uh, with that said, showing the quarterback struggles and the offensive struggles, I think a lot of that has to do with pads. It's hard for the offensive linemen to pick up a blitz when you can't really block. There's a lot of things in the CBA where you can't really create contact. So these defenders are kind of running in a free manner, not taking anything away from Mike Pettin or the defense. I think they're going to be aggressive and tough. But it's really unfair advantage to the offense right now where the linemen can't really put a body on somebody and hit them. And kind of pause that blitz. So I
Yeah,
think it's hard to read into either quarterback right now. And also these quarterbacks and receivers, I mean, that's one of the hardest things in the NFL is getting down timing. You got a ton of rookie receivers, a rookie quarterback. That's going to come throughout the summer. It's going to be a while before we get there. So
yeah,
I like either quarterback right now,
yeah,
really. I think
yeah,
it's an even competition.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. Well, I was kind of looking at the whole, you know, is Cobb going to be the next Kurt Warner, per se, where Matt Leinart was drafted, you know, with the thought of him being the starter, him being the future, and Kurt Warner went in there and took his job and ran with it. So I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm extremely high on EJ Manuel, of course. I've been calling him by his real name lately, Eric James. But
Yep. I am too. I bought a jersey, so I put money
yeah,
on
right.
him. Yeah.
But if Kevin Cobb, it's like he was a high choice of the Eagles. The Cardinals thought of him, extremely high. When they actually traded for him, second round pick and their top cornerback at the time. So I mean, if Cobb actually comes in here and shows that he's able to actually win games, especially in preseason, and one more thing that you said in regards to the minicamps, where it is kind of hard to gauge exactly how a player is actually performing. Doug Marrone actually said in his press conference that it's kind of hard to gauge it when you're not able to see if the player is actually able to shed blocks. And that was one of
Right.
our weakest links last year, where we couldn't really get off the block. In OTAs and minicamps, you don't really have to worry about that. So we're definitely going to see in 6 weeks how the team is actually going to be forming.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, man. But I'm definitely excited about this defense. If it is what I think is going to be, just like you said, it doesn't really matter who the quarterback's going to be.
Well,
At
and
least right now, at least.
yeah, and to touch on the defense again, like it excites me to hear it. So, but I have to kind of put on my fan cap that's been disappointed before and say, okay, like, yeah, we got to find out what these guys can do in pads. I'm concerned. I like Kiko Alonso. I think Kiko is going to be awesome. I like Jerry Hughes. I think he's going to be a good fit. But can these guys shed the blocks, like you're saying? Like, Kiko's a rookie. He's going to have struggles this
Yeah.
year, no matter how good he is. Uh, Gilmore has struggles. Gilmore's looking really good now in his second year. So we're not going to get the best out of some of these guys until later, maybe even later in the season. So guys like Tom Brady's, quarterback Drew Brees, guys that we're going to be facing this year, they're going to take advantage of some of those rookie mistakes that are eventually on film. No matter how aggressive we are, we're going to have holes in this defense.
Yeah. I mean, our biggest flaw for the past few years has been our rush defense. Whenever you bring all these blitzes, you're kind of vulnerable to the rush. Where and you brought up Kiko. They're raving about Kiko right now. Even
Right.
Doug Marrone was like, man, listen, we love Kiko. He's absolutely balling right now. It's like you said, without really having pads, you can't really gauge it. I know Jerry Hughes is another player who's you mentioned, who is having a great camp so far. It's definitely hard to gauge, but
It's a lot of upside, which the upside factor is
yeah,
good right now for the Bills.
yeah,
It's we're not disappointed yet, you know.
that's true.
Um,
That's very, very
but
true.
to go to what we were saying too, like if the defense is what it's being reported as being and what we want it and think it's going to be, and the quarterbacks are questionable, what I really like in that interview you posted by Nate Hackett was talking about how excited the Bills are to have both Spiller and Jackson, and how the offense is kind of, when in doubt, hand the ball off and pound the ball. I think that's only going to benefit the Bills, especially as the year goes on. Maybe
Yeah, I mean,
CJ could be that 2K guy that you think he's going to be.
yeah. I mean, because as of right now, our biggest asset is our running game. Of course, we were sixth in the league last year. We had no receivers except for Stevie. But now I don't know, man. I mean, Rick Rogers is having an amazing, amazing off season so far. Robert Woods, even Marquise Goodwin and T.J. Graham. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
and they
do
say
like
reports
what's
are
up.
even saying guys like um, Kevin Elliott are stepping up, and
Yeah,
Hogan are stepping up, or Hagan, or uh,
yeah.
These guys so it's going to be some really tough decisions for the coaches. I
Even
mean, look
Kaufman. Yep.
behind me, Kaufman. Like look behind me. That's a lot of guys, and any one of those guys can make this team. So that's exciting too. But
It is exciting.
the running game is going to perpetuate strong passing game because if we can get guys in the box to try to slow down CJ, it's going to open up for our speedsters like Graham and Goodwin to really bust through the seam, bust past the safety
Yeah.
as they creep up.
Now talking about safeties, a person who has actually had an amazing, last 3 days has been Aaron Williams, a player who,
Yeah, cornerback.
yeah, exactly. The player that most fans don't want on the team. He had 3 picks the last 3 days. So I mean, what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I didn't love the original pick of Aaron Williams. After the pick, I don't hate it. I know he had a tough year last year. I don't think he's necessarily the second best cornerback on the team, but I think he's the third best cornerback on the team currently. And his versatility, if he can play safety and can play cornerback, that's only benefiting the Bills.
Yeah.
So being able to line him up at both, I mean, injuries are going to happen throughout the year. We're going to lose a cornerback. A safety is going to probably be out for a couple games. Like we just over the years and having an injury-prone team, we know that's coming. So the more versatile a guy is, the better. So I think Aaron Williams only really building his stock by being able to play both positions.
Yeah, I think it'll only benefit him being on the team as far as depth wise. But last year it was kind of the same thing last year where in training camp, he was making all types of plays where it didn't translate on the field. And the same thing this year, he's making a whole bunch of plays in these camps. So let's see if it definitely pans out on the field.
Right,
Now,
maybe he's just a guy that plays in shorts. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He's one of those guys that Doug Marone was talking about. A player who steps up in shorts, but whenever the pads come on, he's a different player. Now, and also talking about safeties, do you think we're going to sign Jarius Byrd? I mean, right now he didn't really have to come to mandatory minicamps because he hasn't signed his tender. But do you think we're going to sign him?
Um, he's gonna report to training camp.
Yeah.
That's gonna be mandatory, or he's gonna be fined. I don't see why he wouldn't. I don't see why he would hold out any further than that, where he's going to be paid as a top 5 safety in the
I think it's
league.
top 3 actually.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
top
mean,
3. Yeah.
so the guy's going to make some money this year to come play, and if he isn't signing a long-term extension, it would make sense for him to come play and have a really good year to increase his value moving forward. Now, I've heard fans saying like, all right, well, let's do it and let's franchise him again next year and then trade him, because look what the Bucks got for Darrelle Revis. So say he has a really good season. I know cornerback is a more important position than safety, but maybe we could get a first-round pick.
That's true.
And they drafted a few safeties, so maybe Duke Williams or Meeks, maybe one of these guys is the answer as far as the future goes.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think they should break the bank for any one player. They already did it for Mario Williams. I like Bird, but they really got to think of the next 5 to 6 years and how that salary cap's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I'm a huge fan of Bird. I know that he wasn't able to relive what he did his rookie season, where he had those 9 picks, which is understandable. But he's a playmaker, man. I mean, it'd be hard to lose him. I know Duke Williams right now in minicamp is having a very, very good minicamp. They're saying he's making a lot of plays out there, but there's only one Jarius Byrd, man. I mean, if we're able to get him, fine. I know you mentioned something on a previous post that I put out there. You never want to break the bank, or you don't want to overpay for a player. As far as right now, it's the overpaying is whatever the Bills can't afford. I mean, if we got to lose a player to keep Bird, if he's a prominent player, then then yes, we would have overpaid for him. If we're not able to really lose out in anything, maybe a little bit of a cap, just to keep one of the top, if not the best, one of the top five safeties in all the NFL, then I say go for it, man. Because the Bills have always drafted great players and had to give them away, man. And
Right. Well,
it, it's hard to be a Bills fan knowing that we're not going to keep our players for long term. We're going to keep them for the first 4 years of the rookie contract, and then after that we got to let them go. So
I hear that, man. But part of that too is we don't know if Jarvis Bird wants to be in Buffalo.
that's true.
We think he does. We don't know what's holding up the contract negotiations currently. Uh, I don't know if they've even reached out. I think Buddy Nick said that they, had conversations with his agent. I don't know how in depth they were, but maybe there's no interest on the side of Jarvis Burton and his agent to sign a long-term deal in Buffalo. That's just something I don't know. I haven't seen any reports that suggest that he really wants to. So I think we just got to wait and see with this. It's going to be something that's written in all the blogs as the bird watch continues into training camp. I think it's an overblown story until we know if he wants to be back here or not. If the problem is he wants to be back and we just don't want to pay him, then that's a problem with the front office. If the problem is he doesn't want to play for the Bills any longer, then we really got to figure out what we're going to do at safety.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, that's true. That's true. Now, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure all Bills fans know about this already, about the signing of Doug Legursky from Pittsburgh. He's a technique guy. Right now, he was leading the first team reps in at left guard in minicamp. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty high on him. I mean, he was pretty solid for the Steelers. Now, Tavares Jackson being released, there is no excuse for the quarterbacks right now as far as reps. They're both going to get equal reps, and hey, if EJ shows out, he should get it, and vice versa. So yeah. As of right now, there's no excuse, man. I want EJ to win the job only because I'm highest on him. But if Cobb just shows that he has to be the guy, then he has to be the guy. You know what I mean? Because right now we're on a 13-year, losing streak. I mean, playoff drought. We have to make the playoffs. So who knows, man? But as far as right now, man, quarterback situation is the biggest, topic of this offseason of training camp. So, let's see how that goes from there,
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Bills are done bringing in players either, talking about the Legursky thing. Doug Marrone hinted to it, I think, in his press conference the other day, saying, we might bring in more guys for this competition on the offensive line, which I think is a good thing.
He should, yep.
Guys are going to be getting cut as well from other teams, so good, solid vets are going to be out there. There's still some solid vets out there in free agency.
Yep.
That could fill holes for Buffalo. Injuries are going to happen throughout training camp, so I think it's just the wait and see. The roster has a lot of interesting things going on, like where's Aaron Williams going to line up? When Kyle Williams comes back healthy, is he going to, they had that leaked thing from Twitter the other day about how the defense was going to line up in the different groups and stuff, and we saw what it was like without Kyle Williams. And so how does that change when Kyle Williams is healthy? Is he a major part of this defense? There's a lot of things to be really excited for as a Bills fan going into the summer. But this is coming up right now is my least favorite time of summer because we had all this hype from prior to the draft,
and now we have to wait 6 weeks. Yep.
And now we got to just sit around and wait and talk about Jarvis Bird and talk about all these things that don't matter until it happens.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on the worst part of football season, man. The anticipation is gonna kill me.
But I'm pretty sure, man, we'll come up with some topics to talk about. I have a couple in my head right now. So, we're definitely going to be having this show, if not every week, twice a week, man, for the next 6 weeks.
And guys, definitely look for the show to come back more regularly now that I know I've settled in from moving. So I apologize for the not putting out a lot of shows, but we're back in full effect. I
All
know
right.
Keith Pugh still wants to come on, man. He tweeted me the other day, so maybe early next week let's get Keith on here
Oh, sweet. That would be nice, man.
and ball out with Keith. So
There we go. There we go. Well, all right, guys. As you know, this is episode 10 Hanging with the Herd. Please hang with us. Follow us on Twitter. I have all the links right below this video. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
thanks, guys.